Imagine two angry frogs fighting over the biggest lily pad in the entire pond. They crash into each other, splash water everywhere, rocks flying, mud everywhere. The whole pond is watching. And just when it looks like one of them is about to win, they stop. They shake hands and say, "Peace." But here's the problem. One frog still has a rock behind his back. The other one, he's quietly sharpening a stick underwater. And right now, in the real global pond, that's exactly what's happening. Because the Iran ceasefire? It looks calm. It sounds calm. But underneath, the water is already moving. And what's been happening right after the ceasefire tells a completely different story. Let's slow this down. The US and Iran agreed to a ceasefire after weeks of heavy fighting. Sounds simple, but it's not. Because from the very beginning, there wasn't just one agreement. There were multiple versions floating around. The US version says, Iran must comply or else. Iran's version says, we agreed on our terms. And Israel? They basically said, this deal doesn't fix anything. That's not one story. That's three different realities. But wait, here's where it gets weird. Even the translations of the agreement didn't fully match. The Persian version and the English version? Different tone, different emphasis. Now think about that. If two frogs sign a peace deal, but each one reads it differently, are they actually at peace or just waiting for the next misunderstanding? Quick question, have you ever agreed to something, then later realized you and the other person meant completely different things? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here. Now here's the part most people miss. Even during the ceasefire, things didn't fully stop. Ships were still being challenged. Threats were still being made. Forces stayed in position. And both sides kept saying, it's not us, it's them. So what do we actually have? Not peace, not war, something in between. Like two frogs standing still, but staring each other down. And that tension? It's about to explode in the most important place on Earth right now. Let me show you something. There's a narrow strip of water called the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't look like much on a map, but in the global pond, it's everything. Because nearly 1 out of every 5 barrels of oil in the world passes through it. That's insane. Think of it like this. If the whole world is a body, the Strait of Hormuz is one of its main arteries. You block it, everything starts failing. Now during the war, Iran turned this place into a pressure point. They didn't need to win everywhere. They just needed to control this. And suddenly, the whole world had to pay attention. Let me make this simple. If you control the door, you control who enters. And right now, Iran is standing at that door. Now here's where things get serious. Right after the ceasefire, Iran increased its presence in the strait. Ships were stopped and inspected. Naval mines were reportedly placed. And tensions shot up again. At the same time, the US responded by sending even more military power into the region. We're talking multiple aircraft carriers, fighter jets, tens of thousands of troops. This is not de-escalation. This is positioning. And when both sides start positioning like this, it usually means one thing. They're preparing for what comes next. Now let's zoom out. The US had clear goals going into the war. Stop Iran's nuclear program, destroy its missile systems, weaken its allies, possibly force regime change. Big goals. But here's the reality. Those goals were not fully achieved. Iran still has deep underground nuclear sites, distributed missile production, strong regional allies. These things are hard to destroy. Why? Because they're built to survive attacks. And this is where Iran played it smart. Instead of trying to win the war traditionally, they shifted the game. They focused on leverage. Let me ask you this. What's more powerful, winning a fight or controlling what your opponent needs to survive? Exactly. Now let's talk flies, because money is still part of this game. If Iran can influence or control traffic through the strait, even indirectly, they can generate massive financial advantage. But more importantly, they gain something even bigger, influence over global energy prices. That means, if tension rises, prices go up. If traffic slows, markets panic. If risk increases, everyone pays more. And Iran doesn't even need to fire a shot to make that happen. Now you might be thinking, okay, so Iran gained leverage. That's it. Nope. Because what the US is doing right now changes the entire equation. While the world is talking about peace, the US is quietly building something much bigger: military power. More aircraft carriers are moving in, more troops are arriving, more air operations are happening daily. And here's the key detail most people miss. Military buildup doesn't happen for no reason. It's expensive, it's risky, and it sends a message. That message? We're ready, if this fails. Now let's talk about the talks, because technically, the US and Iran are trying to negotiate. But here's the problem. They're not starting from compromise, they're starting from strength. Iran is saying, remove sanctions, accept our position, recognize our role. The US is saying, limit your nuclear program, reduce missiles, pull back influence. These are not small requests. These are core demands. And here's the truth. When both sides demand everything, nobody gets anything. Now let's add another frog into the pond, Israel. Israel sees this situation very differently. From their perspective, any deal that leaves Iran strong is a future threat. So what happens? Even if the US and Iran agree on something, Israel might not accept it. And if they don't, they could act on their own. And that's where things get really dangerous. Because now you're not dealing with one conflict, but multiple overlapping ones. Let's be honest. Look at what's happening. Ships being challenged, military forces increasing, talks struggling, tensions rising. This doesn't look stable. It looks fragile. Even officials are warning, this ceasefire might not last. And if it breaks, things could escalate fast. Now here's the part we all are missing. This might not be the end of the war. It might just be a pause before something bigger. Because think about it. The goals haven't changed. The power is still there. The tension is still high. The players are still ready. That's not peace. That's unfinished business. And in the global pond, unfinished business always comes back. Stronger, messier, and way more dangerous. In the global pond, the biggest frogs don't always win. The smartest ones do. Keep your eyes on the water. I'm the Frogman, and I'll see you in the next one.